Yeah.
When in the process of making the album did the Earth album title come about?
Well, I called it The Pale Blue Dot, which was penned by Carl Sagan, and it's to accompany a photograph that was taken by Voyager 1A spacecraft of the planet in 1990, and it's the furthest photo taken of the Earth, and it's this tiny pale blue dot. And Carl Sagan wrote these incredibly beautiful words that accompany this image, along the lines of, "This is our home. This is us. This is, this is it." So it was all about the bigger picture, and it's also like a sort of a call. Carl Sagan's words are really very beautiful, but they're also like a call for us to wake up, to realize the bigger picture here. Rather than the drama of our own lives that we all get caught up in naturally, but there's a bigger thing going on. We are living on this sphere, orbiting around this sun in this vast space called the universe. We need to sort our shit out.
In the best of ways.
And it really, for me, it was exactly what I was feeling. There's an existential question I felt it very strong the last 10 years. What are we doing? Why do we keep on building these aircraft carriers when we should be sorting out how we can live in harmony and respect to the planet, and with the planet and all its plants and all its animals, and also with one another.
And Shangri-La, if you can take a compliment here, great album opener. It really sets the tone for the album. Did you know outright that was going to be the opener when you were writing the song?
No, I didn't know outright, but when we recorded the song, I was just like, I said to Flood, I said, it's got the right energy, the right kind of, draws you in. I kind of had a very strong sense of that being the album opener.
And you played most of the instruments on the album, some great cameos I'd like to ask you about, but I noticed that you didn't play drums. Do you not play drums?
I don't play drums. I'm a crap drummer. I'm a pretty fine tambourine player, percussionist and shaker. I love that. But as for a drummer, no, I'm hopeless.
And how did you wind up with Nathan East on the album? I'm very familiar with his credits. I mean, to say the least, Phil Collins' Easy Lover was his song.
Yeah. Well, Nathan and Omar Hakim, who also played,
yes,
they were the rhythm section for Daft Punk's Random Access Memories album. And when I was demoing this record, that came out, and I saw this footage of them when they played the Grammys, and there's the footage of the rehearsal the day before, and there's the robots. They're playing Get Lucky, and there's Pharrell, and there's Nile Rodgers, and there's Stevie Wonder. And, we know all about them. They're all incredible. And I'm like, who's that rhythm section? That's familiar. It's Nathan East and Omar Hakim. And for me as a musician, when I was demoing, I was just like, well, that's the kind of, you die for rhythm sections like that. I mean, they're just so, they're so unique. So when I was dreaming it all up, they were my dream rhythm section. And then a couple of years later, I was out on tour with Radiohead, and I got to meet Daft Punk's manager. And I talked to him, and he said, they're great. He said, do you want me to put you in touch? I'm sure they'd be interested in collaborating. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. So I end up having a great conversation with Nathan and with Omar separately. And in the fall of 2017, they come over to Wales, and we all get to work together for about 3 weeks.
Now, the name Flood came up. He's made so many albums that people hear on a daily basis, whether or not they know that Flood did them. But when you're in a room with Flood, do you call him Flood?
Yeah, of course. His wife calls him Flood.
His wife calls him Flood. What was the genesis of you meeting Flood in the first place and saying, hey, you're going to do my album?
Well, I didn't say, hey, you're going to do my album. It starts at the school gates. Our kids at the same school. 2013, I I'm dropping my daughter off, his son and my daughter in the same year at school.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the cloakroom hanging up our coats for our kids. You know, they're little ones. They're only 8 or something. And I say to him, I know who he is, and I never met him, but I said, listen, I just want to say I love Holy Fire by Foals. I think it's a fantastic album.
Mm-hmm.
And our wives knew one another. Our wives were friends. They were trying to sort out the food that was very bad at the school. They're part of this group of mums who are trying to make sure the school fed the kids better food.
Right.
It's improved since then, which is good. And we became friends. And I never asked him outright to produce. What happened was that I needed some good counsel about these demos that I'd made. And he was a mate, and I knew we felt music in the same way. My dream ticket was that he would produce it, but I didn't want to be presumptuous. So I said, listen, can I play this stuff? See what you think. And I went to a studio in Willesden, and after about 4 songs, he sort of turned around and he said, do you want me to do this with you, to produce? Like, that's the dream. That's the dream ticket for me. So it starts with the kids.
That's the old cliche that if the wives are friends or the kids are friends, then you're allowed to be friends as well.
Totally.
And the album came out under the moniker EOB. Was that a long time nickname for you? I ask that because people call me by my initials, but I'd imagine that's the case with you, and hence this album.
Only when I was a little kid, from about the age of 7 or 8. You know, at the school that I went to, you used to have to initial. I remember on the woodwork, you used to put your initials. So I put EOB, and the teacher used to call me EOB. and so, yeah, no, I just didn't want to go out under the moniker of Ed O'Brien. I wanted to go out something that was a little bit more, perhaps a little bit more abstract, something that could be a bit more of an umbrella for future collaborations, rather than it just my name. It's like it could be, I mean, you know, a record is a collaboration, whether you're the sole songwriter. Anyway, it's a collaboration with other musicians and your studio stuff, your studio crew as well. So yeah, I wanted it to be more collaborative seemingly, which it is.
Well, 3 quick questions, being mindful of your time and the time allotment here. And the first one is, in your career at this point, you've played every damn arena and festival and stadium possible, blah, blah, blah. But when is it that you stopped worrying about, is this a hit song? Are people going to like this? And said, I'm going to be fine with my career for the rest of my life. Was there a moment like that for you?
No, the hit song thing, we were very lucky with Creep. So it wasn't really about, you know, having a hit song. It's more to do with it's when do you stop worrying? And that's a big thing. I don't know. I think that happens gradually. I think that it sort of happens by osmosis, really. It kind of just happens. I mean, I'd say about the touring was the first thing. You know, touring could be quite full on back in the day. And it wasn't until we started touring in Rainbows that it started to change. And then the King of Limbs tour, the start of it was amazing until the accident happened. And I think you just it's a process of letting go and not worrying and trusting. So yeah, I think there's never one moment that you think, it's, you know, doing what you do requires focus and integrity. And they're very different. When you're young, you sort of also think that you have to be controlling. And no, you can be focused and have integrity, but you don't need to worry and be in control. You can also let things be. So it's just, I think maybe it's an age thing, really.
In the best of ways. And then with being cooped up for this long, we talked about it started in March for you, fortunately, and you're doing better. Is there a TV show or a movie that's really gotten you through these times, a big discovery for you?
No, I haven't really watched anything. I've been, I've watched one film, literally one film, and because it's my birthday last week, and it's being there by Peter Sellers, directed by Hal Ashby, which is such a great film that I introduced the kids to. I kind of, I'm lucky because we have access to being out here because we've got a large garden. So I've also been ill, and when you're ill, you don't really want to. I've had the virus, so I don't really want to watch TV when I'm ill. It makes me feel worse. So I tend to read, or I've done a bit of reading, but I've done a lot of interviews.
Sure.
Yeah.
And hence my luck on that end. So in closing, Ed, any last words for the kids?
Good luck, stay safe, be well, observe the lockdown, and be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself and be kind to one another. I think it's really important. Always.
Thank you so much for your time here. Keep up the greatness, and really thanks for the decades of great music.
Thank you, Darren.
Hope to see you in New York eventually.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Darren. Cheers.